Hey everyone, this is Dana on this fabulous Freedom Fitness Friday. Today I have a surprise for you. I told you that for some time I've had a meal delivery service. Well, one of the things they provide is a registered dietitian. So if you have any questions about the meals that you are purchasing from them, or you want some additional counseling, they offer that service. So I was able to get our registered dietitian to sit down and talk to me about physical wellness and health. Enjoy the conversation.
Good morning, everyone. I have the pleasure to be talking to Rebecca Mohning, and I did a preliminary video that you can take a look at. But thank you again for coming to talk to us today. We do have some prepared questions that we have for you, and the biography is in the description below. So I did send over some questions, but what is physical wellness to you and why is it important?
Yeah, I think physical wellness I'm a registered dietitian and you probably see in my bio, I'm an exercise physiologist. So when I was in school and understanding wellness and wanting to work with clients to better improve their health, I knew that nutrition was the main nugget to really work with people, but I also knew fitness was really important. I had a passion for both. So I pursued my master's degree in exercise physiology so I could work with clients and help them with all aspects of physical wellness, which is the nutrition, the physical activity. Sleep is super, super important. Find them. It is the most important one of all of those, actually, for quality of life and quality of wellness. So physical wellness involves how we manage our lives, what we put in our bodies, whether it even be alcohol, drugs, and also what we do with our food and how we manage our day to better our health and better our wellness and make an opportunity for things we need to do for our better self-care. And I think self-care gets so forgotten in this busy time that we live in. And even in this pandemic where it's just really crunched people into a busier, longer workday, really at home, where we're not taking as care of ourselves as we did in the past. Maybe we're afraid to even get out and do our checkups or medical visits. So that aspect of physical wellness really encompasses so many avenues, not just nutrition or not just hear the word physical, you think exercise, but really all kinds of aspects of wellness.
Thank you. What got you interested in weight loss and sports nutrition? Now, I put weight loss in here because that's how I met you. So, what got you interested in weight loss and sports nutrition?
So growing up as a kid, I grew up on a farm in Iowa and I had my own garden. My parents had raised pigs and chickens and, I was the true country farm girl. So I always had a passion as a kid, understanding I had an understanding as a kid of how good food can taste if you grow your own, if you have the opportunity to buy fresh or have local produce. And I was also an athlete at the time as well. I was a 4-sport athlete, volleyball, basketball, track, softball, so year-round multi-sport athlete. And so I just had a higher importance of excelling in all my sports. And I knew as I was in high school that if I could do something with my nutrition, I could have that extra edge over my opponents, because obviously we're all training, we're all doing the same amount of hours of practice, but how can you set yourself apart when it comes to physical fitness? Nutrition's a big part of that. And so I had this passion related to nutrition and sports. I had a passion related to food and gardening and good nutrition. And my mom was always overweight from the time I can remember, honestly. And not maybe so much growing up in high school, but she definitely was in her adult life. And looking at my mom and just thinking about how much her weight was a burden to her, I really had a passion for helping others. And of course, growing up in the Midwest, quite a few people are overweight, and just saw a need of how much changing what you're eating can make you feel better. Not necessarily so much about you have to lose so much weight, but just eating better and losing some weight in the process can just make us have so much more energy, have much more confidence, feel better, perform better. So I think it kind of just all came together. And of course, I work with clients not just to always lose weight, but just to maintain weight or sometimes even to gain weight. So the weight management piece goes all the way around, not just weight loss.
Thank you so much. Now I see after, I call it alphabet soup, but after all of your all the initials after your name, I noticed that it said registered dietitian. Now, what is a registered dietitian and what are the educational requirements?
Great question. So to become a registered dietitian, there's quite a few hoops you have to jump through, more than I realized when I went off to college to get my degree in dietetics or to be a dietitian. And so what you have to do is get the 4-year education in nutrition or dietetics. But that's just not enough. You have to, after you finish your 4-year degree, you have to apply for an internship. So it's kind of like applying to PA school or physical therapy school, kind of to further on your education and training. So you apply for an internship, and about 50% of dietetic graduates get internships. That's about how many are available per how many people graduate. So it's competitive. You really work hard during your 4 years in college to have community experience, volunteer experience, good GPA, so that you can get selected in this matching process. Once you get selected into your internship, so I actually did my internship through Iowa State University where I did my undergrad. Then you complete anywhere from a 1-year to 2-year accredited internship where you're paying more money to do this, kind of free labor to everybody else. But you get great experiences. You go and you work in rotation in 6 months in a hospital. You rotate through community service like WIC and food service and corporate wellness and government nutrition. And so you get a very, very vast knowledge of different aspects of being a dietitian so that when you finish your internship, you study for your board exam. And then once you pass your board exam, you're a registered dietitian, you can practice in any of these arenas that I mentioned. So typically people sometimes refer to me as a nutritionist, which is fine. However, you could call yourself a nutritionist, Dana. You don't have to be a registered dietitian to be called a nutritionist. So it's very confusing for people because nutritionist doesn't have any kind of underlying educational background requirements, licensure requirements, or any of that type of thing. But a registered dietitian you can bet on has all the credentialing, all the education to be an expert in the field of nutrition. So I always recommend when people are looking for help, they look for a registered dietitian. If you're a registered dietitian, you're going to call yourself a registered dietitian after I just explained all the hoops that you go through. So it's okay. You won't offend us if you call us a nutritionist. But it's just, we just know that if we say registered dietitian, we're talking about somebody who has all the credentials to help people.
Well, I see that is very important. So there is a distinct difference between a registered dietitian and a nutritionist. So yeah, that is very, very important. And I'm glad that you were able to help us with that distinction because, of course, we would not know that. And that's something that I think that someone would need to know, especially if we're on this fitness journey. Mm-hmm. Now, you're the owner of Expert Nutrition LLC.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Could you tell me a little bit about your company and your clientele?
Sure. So I started my private practice, Expert Nutrition, in 2003. I just, started out working as a dietitian and a personal trainer because I really liked, like I said, both the fitness and the nutrition. It's how I met Diet2Go, actually. I was working for a fitness company and Diet2Go came in and asked the fitness company if we could start supplying the Diet2Go meals to our customers at various gyms in the area. And of course, the guys at the corporation I worked for at the time said, well, talk to our dietitian. If she gives it the stamp of approval, we'll put these meals into our gyms for our members to use and to purchase. So I talked to Diet2Go back in 2002 and really liked their program, really liked their food. And so I started recommending Diet2Go way back when, and we'll get into a little bit about my history of Diet2Go, but that's also around the time that when I left this fitness company, I decided I wanted to start my own private practice and start working with my own clientele. And really at that time, I started to expand in the DC area, working with patients under different doctor's offices, chiropractic, physical therapy, and then a weight management physician, and shared space with all these different practitioners. So I had a really nice wide array of folks I could work with that would refer me patients I could help. I also worked with a cardiologist for a while. I was teaching at George Washington University in their exercise science department and teaching sports nutrition and wellness at the time. So I kind of just branched out and started my practice, Expert Nutrition, which encompassed both individual nutrition counseling for all ages, all fitness levels, people with different goals or diabetes, hypertension, whatever health conditions that they had. IBS was a popular one as well. And then also one branch of my business is corporate wellness. So I still do a lot of corporate wellness presentations and webinars. I also do a lot of wellness challenges with different corporations right now. Most everything we're doing is virtual, which has been really handy for people. It's actually broadened out how many people I can reach now. One of my corporate contracts has members or employees all over the world. So I'm in Barbados and Trinidad and Belize with clients, which is kind of fun.
Wow.
So it's been a fun experience. And I still do some, personal training, some fitness work, not as much because, I have, so many limited hours in a week, right? So it's like, I'd rather kind of work with more new people with nutrition than sort of, tie up all my hours with personal training. But so that's kind of the three avenues. I do a lot of consulting work, like I consult with Diet2Go and answer nutrition questions for customers. Sometimes they'll come to me with a question about their menu. Maybe there's some kind of menu enhancement they're looking for, or when the new dietary guidelines come out, then Diet2Go and I will talk about those. If there's any adjustments we need to make in our menu to make sure it fits to the latest dietary guidelines. So I'll do different kind of consulting. Research firms sometimes call me for questions. So I try to diversify myself as much as possible too. So I'm not always doing exactly the same thing over and over again. I like a little bit of diversity in my work.
Yes, thank you. And I noticed that you did talk a lot about Diet2Go, and I've been with Diet2Go since 2013, and I did see, I did see the menu changing, and it did meet my needs as far as making sure. And I'm coming to the end of my journey that I have put out to the world, but my journey with reducing the sodium and reducing the sugar. But why do you think that weight loss, and not everybody needs weight loss, but why do you think weight loss and or fitness is so difficult for people?
Wow, we could spend a lot of time on this topic. It's different for everybody why it's challenging. If I had to pick maybe three top things that I think most people relate to why it's so difficult is one, I think, is time management. If we had more time to cook our meals, to take a walk every day, to do something we enjoy for fitness and wellness, if we had more time to sleep, I think we'd all be healthier. So I think that's one of the challenges is time. We just really struggle to find the time for all those things for our self-care. I think number two is stress. We are so stressed as human beings these days. There's so much stress in our lives. And that stress pulls from everything I just mentioned, pulls from our time, pulls from our energy, pulls from our sleep, which is so critical for our metabolism. And then, of course, we use food or alcohol or something for coping. And that makes it more of a challenge for us as well to be healthy. So I think that's number two, why it's really difficult. And I think the third thing that makes it most challenging is just, where do you start and what do you do? And I think there's too much information out on the web about nutrition. There's too many different diets. There's so much misinformation. It's overwhelming, and it just makes people be paralyzed. Where do I start? How do I do this? And how do I be consistent? Because that's, I think, what everybody needs is just a solid nutrition plan that works for them, that's personalized. And then guess what? It's not so hard. And then if you're stressed or you're busy, it's easier to follow through on that plan. So I think those are, to me, like the top three things why it's so challenging sometimes.
Well, based on what you just said, then that's even more reason why you would want to talk to not only your personal physician, but also a registered dietitian, so that you can get through the muck, if you will.
Yeah, right. And all the confusion, right? Can I eat an apple? Should I eat an apple? Is it bad for me? Is it good for me? It's very confusing.
Yes, ma'am. So what other services does Expert Nutrition LLC offer?
So we basically, it's just me. I don't know why I'm saying we, it's just me. I feel like there's multiple me's sometimes. So it's just me. So for services, individualized nutrition counseling, what that means is I will sit down with a client one-on-one, look at what they're currently eating, what are their habits, where do they shop, where do they eat out fast food or whatever. I look at everything. Do you like sweets? Do you like savory? And we put together, the customer, the client and I, a personalized nutrition plan, something that's not going to feel like a ton of work, just make some changes. hopefully makes them feel better, have more energy. And then I offer that accountability, which is really, really key. I think it's one thing to know what to do, but then it's how do you implement that on an ongoing basis and have some support to help us. I think many times we get caught in our head. We have a lot of negative thoughts that keep feeding us. And that slows us down. Well, I can't lose weight. I've tried this before. I'm just going to mess up again. I don't, whatever. I don't know what to do. So having somebody guide you on a regular basis on a nutrition journey has been super helpful for my clients. So I do usually a weekly check-in, a quick Zoom or a phone call with my client on a weekly basis until they feel really comfortable. Then we'll spread it out every couple of weeks and then check in until they reach their goals. And then once they reach their goals, we still have some periodic check-ins to follow up to make sure they're in the proper maintenance phase to stick to their plan. So that's one big part of what I do the majority of my day. The other side of that would be and I do write fitness plans a lot for clients that kind of encompasses with their nutrition program. And then I also do quite a bit of corporate wellness speaking or on-site nutrition counseling or Zoom nutrition counseling or wellness challenges where I get to work with that client and a group that one of my wellness challenge groups right now, we're doing a 12-week challenge and we're looking in those 12 weeks, how many steps can everybody take? Everybody's logging their food on the MyFitnessPal tracker. And we're doing a couple webinars that are educational on how to eat for the holidays is coming up. We're doing one on metabolism, one on healthy eating on the run. So it just keeps them engaged and giving people a lot of tips along the way. And then the winner gets, the person that loses the most body fat gets a indoor bicycle, which is really cool.
Wow, that is so cool. And, I think one of the things I liked about Diet to Go is because I live by myself, I was always wasting food, especially when I had salads and I intentionally bought what was good for me and good for my body, but I ended up throwing a lot of it away because I just didn't like eating it all the time, the same thing all the time. So not only did Diet to Go give me the variety of food in the proper portions, because again, you can go to the restaurant, they give you 2 or 3 portions.
Yeah,
I'm a boomer. I know what a real portion looks like. So
well, yeah. And, and that's really common for a lot of folks that are single too, just cooking for one. They just aren't getting the variety of nutrition because, you're just not going to buy that much variety when you're cooking for one person. You might end up eating the same meal 5 times in a row. So Diet to Go does give people a lot of variation in different protein sources, vegetables. You see a lot more, variety of grains and vegetables in their plan. So I do like that for my folks that they get the variety they're looking for.
Yes. And the other thing too that I like about Diet to Go is they introduce foods that I like. Himika. I didn't know what Himika was. And so we're introducing, and then my all-time favorite, and I hope they're listening, the zucchini bread is to die for.
Yes.
And they said,
yes. We've had, I say we, because I work with them, we've had special requests for the muffins that they make in the morning. Like people just want to order the muffins as like a separate order. We're like, they can't do that. But yeah, their baked goods are really good too. Really good.
Yes. And then they go, we decreased, I think we get a brownie once a month. And she goes, we reduced the size of the brownie. And I'm like, you don't think we know that? You don't think we noticed it? We noticed it. Then they went back to big. But see, the thing is, I had this, it wasn't like really small. She made it sound like it was really small. But when they went back to the big one, I'm like, oh yes, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate the fact that Diet to Go gives you different types of menus and depending on your nutritional needs, and it's not one size fits all. And it's really funny when people ask me the question, does it taste good? Okay, I've been eating it since 2013. What do you think? And then the other question I get that is also very funny is it expensive? And I said, that's in the eye of the beholder. To me, expensive is throwing food away that I purchased. Expensive is eating food that is not good for me. Expensive is that diabetes medicine that I had no business taking. That's expensive. So, okay, that's my soapbox, but it's all relative. So I really appreciate your time and also want to know, is there anything else you think we should know?
That's a really good question. I think the thing that everybody needs to be reminded of, we probably know it, but don't want to always admit it. And when we talk about weight loss, it's not fast. Okay. It's just not fast. And, I think sometimes people get so frustrated because they don't see more than a pound a week. And a pound a week is great, especially if you're listening in today and you're a woman and you're 5'1", 5'3", and you're, in your 50s, especially. A pound a week weight loss is awesome. And that's realistic. Trying to lose 3-4 pounds a week is just not going to be the norm for most people. Now, people who have a lot of weight to lose are going to lose faster, but you know what? Let them lose faster. They have a lot of weight to lose and they're going to get to their goal, and it's going to take them a longer time. But the less we weigh, the less we burn, the less we need. And so our weight loss is going to be a little slower, sometimes even a half a pound. Sometimes some of the Diet-to-Go customers I talk to, we run the numbers, we figure out what their calorie burn is. And the best they're going to do, just based on their size, I have some ladies in their 70s and 80s on Diet-to-Go, and it's like, you're going to lose a half a pound a week. You're still going to lose, but it's just not going to be very fast. Weight loss is not designed to be fast. And I think that's something we have to be reminded of, so we don't beat ourselves up. We don't think we're not doing the right thing. We just got to be patient.
I really appreciate your time, especially in this fast-paced world and with everything going on, that we were able to get you to sit down with us and share your knowledge. Thank you so much, and we do appreciate you.
Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your Diet-to-Go.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.